In a world where speed rules and every second counts, where rubber meets the road and the stakes are sky high, two voices bring you the pulse of the track, the thrill of the chase, and the roar of the engines. This is Loose Lugs with Loran Leitch and Mark Allen. Buckle up and hold tight, because the green flag drops now.
Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Loose Lugs Racing Podcast, presented by the Corp Racing and Valley Gasket. Thank you, Tim, Ben, and Carrie, for all that you do for us in the community. It's truly remarkable. We can't thank you enough. Mark, episode 197. How you doing, man?
Buckle up, Buttercup. I laugh every time I hear buckle up, and also I'm going, you've had your warning. So there you go.
Absolutely. Well, man, good to be back with you this week. We missed last week. Just had some unforeseen things come up, unfortunately. So we got a little bit of racing to talk about, a couple weeks worth of racing and notes and news and everything. But first, unfortunately, we lost another member of the racing community over the last week or two, Keith Funk. He raced down at Slinger primarily. A good guy. Is going to be missed a lot, man.
Yep, we got that news early last week, man. So unfortunate for that one, man. Sad news there. So condolences to their friends and family down there.
Yeah. Yep, another big loss there. But we'll try to keep going in the best way possible for them. You know, that's
Hey, that's what they want us to do, man. That's the way we got to kind of look at it. You know, same for us. You know, don't stop just because of us here either, man. Just keep moving on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, do your best you can, and be like Biff, right? Be like Biff.
That's right. Let's transition and talk about news first here, buddy, and then we'll talk about the last 2 weeks worth of racing. This was kind of a shocker to me in the short track world. Toyota Racing Development signed Keelan Harvick to a long-term developmental deal. This was surprising because, you know, he's been racing for Rackley War, who's a Chevy company right now, although they will be switching to Toyota for at least Keelan. But also sponsored by HendrickCars.com. You know, Kevin Harvick drove Kyle Larson's car back when Kyle Larson was doing the Indy 500 and he was practicing it there. So it just kind of looked like the stars were aligning for Keelan to stay in the Chevy camp, and Hendrick Motorsports would kind of be the shoe-in for him. But Toyota came and got him, and we'll see what this turns into. But it's a long-term deal here.
Sure looks like Toyota turns over every rock and stone out there, man. And there's, you know, and they are just, you know, on top of it, where it seems like the other manufacturers are just kind of lagging a little bit right here, you know, and, you know, there ain't much room in Toyota, man, but I'll tell you what, they're willing to build on careers, man. So, you know, hey, kudos to Toyota, man. They're doing their work there.
Yeah, and I think they've probably been the best as far as development has gone. They really focus on that part. The problem is when they get up into the top three, there's only so many seats for Toyota, so then they kind of disperse there. But they sure do a great job at development, at the developmental stage, excuse me. And yeah, so we'll see what it turns into, Keelan. But some big news coming out there.
Man, I got to see him win the Snowflake there, you know, down there in Pensacola, man. So I had firsthand watched how he did that, even though he messed up on a gear shift on a restart. And so, well, that's the end of him. And no, man, there was some talent that's going on there, man. There will be a Harvick in the big races coming up when he becomes of age, man.
Yep. Let's move on to Truck Series news here. This happened last week, but Ben Meyer, who was the Cars Tour Pro Late model, was in that Nice number 4 truck this past weekend at St. Petersburg. So that was pretty cool for Ben Meyer to be in the race there and get some NASCAR action under his belt. Also, Colin Braun raced in that number 25. He was the free agent truck there for Colleague and part of Ram. So a couple of cool racers and getting a great opportunity.
Yeah, and he got a top 10 out of the race at the truck race, man. So that was good there. Good deal there.
For O'Reilly news here, this was really cool. Lee Pulliam will be in the O'Reilly race at Martinsville for Junior Motorsports in the number 9 car. We talked about and I kind of talked about Lee at length here after the Martinsville 300 in October, I think that was, and how he finished in the top 5, might have been runner up if I remember correctly, but definitely in the top 5, had a great run. And he's won many championships, one of the greatest all times in late model stocks. And I talked about hoping to see him race more. And here he's going to get a NASCAR O'Reilly start at Martinsville. So that'll be great. And no better place for him to go than Martinsville.
Get right in the bull ring of Martinsville, man. So yeah, get right in there and get her done. So yeah, you'll start right there, man.
Chandler Smith is going to drive the Hettinger number 5 car in the O'Reilly race at Phoenix coming up this weekend too. So Chandler Smith is going to be in that 5 car. The 5 car did not race last week, but the previous 2 were with our buddy Wisconsin's own Luke Fenhouse.
And I think that's for 2 races that I thought I saw that Chandler will be in that 5 car.
NASCAR is moving its Full Speed docuseries from Netflix to Prime Video. This year's version happens to be focused on the Daytona 500 from just a couple weeks ago. It'll premiere tomorrow. And also, Prime Video has the prior 2 seasons of Full Speed there. So that docuseries is really cool to watch. I'll speak about this now. Formula One has their version. They've been doing it for 8 years now, and it's been tremendous. The Drive to Survive series. And I just binge watched that over the past week. It came out last week or over the weekend, and I watched all 8 of the episodes there. So a couple of good docuseries to watch. Drive to Survive for Formula One, and then also Full Speed with NASCAR. Drive to Survive is still on Netflix for Formula One, but Full Speed for NASCAR has moved from Netflix to Prime Video here. And again, that'll premiere tomorrow.
All right, man. More racing to watch. We love that stuff, man.
Yeah. Jesse Love got to drive the RCR number 33 Cup car at COTA this last week, sponsored from C4. He's going to run several races, the press conference said. Andy Street is the crew chief on that vehicle, but what stood out to me is that it said he will run several races, whereas in a different press conference, Austin Hill is going to drive that same car, sponsored by United Rentals, in 5 Cup Series events starting at Phoenix this upcoming weekend. So Austin Hill, it says 5. Jesse Love says several. So interesting wording there, and we'll see how that shakes out for Jesse and how many races that will be. But some news coming out of RCR there.
Well, Richard Childress for the last couple of years has been wanting to try to get that 33 camp off the ground, and yeah, those drivers there are in camp already with the O'Reilly series. So hey, they're getting seat time, man, and that's gonna help out a lot. So yeah, they want to get that 33 car up and running so they can have three teams running in the Cup Series.
Also, some other news coming out of RCR, and speaking about the O'Reilly series, Cletus McFarland has signed a 2-year deal to be in the O'Reilly series for RCR. It's going to be only a few races a year. I think it's 3 this year. I'll confirm that here, and then we'll see what the next year is. But they said that they want to help out Cletus McFarland become a better driver, and it was an opportunity he couldn't pass up, obviously. A lot of news has been made, and we talked about this with like Natalie Decker, Cletus McFarland being in the top 3 level. But you have to realize that at some point there's inexperience coming up to the truck series. The truck series, you're pulling these people from late models, from a dirt background that have never, some of them haven't seen asphalt, some of them haven't seen a big racetrack like that. So it is about learning at some point. So he's going to make his O'Reilly series debut at Rockingham this year. So I think that's pretty cool. I think he's great for the sport. And again, these are kind of series where you're learning and making your way through to try to get to the Cup Series. But hopefully, people will give him some grace because again, it's a learning series, and he's driven everything. If he can learn and get a hold of it, could be a good deal.
Yeah, after Rockingham, then he has to try to see if he can get approved to run Talladega, and then he's going to run Daytona later on. And so, yeah, not a bad gig for only racing five ARCA races and only 6 laps in the trucks, and you end up with a Xfinity or O'Reilly. Right, I keep listening to you damn too long. So in the O'Reilly series, so. When he was in that ARCA series that next day after he had that incident, with the truck, and they were coming across the radio telling him that, like, you don't want to hang with this guy. He's all over the place. He seemed like he straightened himself out, but good luck, man. I mean, you're jumping in on the deep end of the pool, man, and hopefully you can make it work. He definitely is entertaining. But yeah, it's something how you can land a big time name ride with just little experience like that. But it'll be worth watching. we'll be stay tuned to that one.
Well, you think about it, and you've kind of hit on something that I try to go the opposite route on, and talk about as an experience. But at the same time, these are learning series. I mean, you talk about, I don't know. There's been a lot of people coming through that have no experience, that go right to the O'Reilly series from short track levels or whatever. So he's driven a bunch of things. I think he can figure it out. I think he's good for the sport. Hopefully it works out. Hopefully it doesn't cause a stir. Hopefully he is able to learn and get comfortable and all of that. I'm sure he'll take the proper steps to do that. So I don't know. I think people are jumping to a conclusion too quickly, and we'll see what happens, I guess.
We'll see what happens. Inexperienced, though, we always keep an eye on that stuff, man, just in case, They have a yellow stripe on their back bumper for a reason,
Yeah. The All-Star Race format was announced. The full field will start segments 1 and 2, which will be 75 laps each. Saturday will be qualifying. That'll set segment 1's lineup. The top 26 from segment 1 will invert for segment 2, and the remaining drivers line up by their finish for segment 2. The lowest combined finishing positions from both segments set the starting lineup for the final segment, which will be 200 laps. The final segment will consist of 26 drivers. In the field will be 2025 and 2026 NASCAR Cup Series race winners, the fan vote winner, past series champions, and all-star winners competing full-time, and the remaining drivers based on combined finishing positions from segment 1 and 2. Qualifying competitors will exit pit road, take the green flag, and at the start finish line and run 1 full lap at speed. The Mechanics Wear Pit Crew Challenge will be on the second lap, and the qualifying total is the total from green flag to checker flag. So that's kind of how the Pit Crew Challenge is going to work, and qualifying will work for the All-Star race.
You know how easy it is to get on the pit road in Dover? So we've seen that. That's the biggest challenge of them all, man. But otherwise, an all-star race with 350 laps of racing, dude. I don't know, man. Well, there's another one where I'm going to have to sit back and see. I hope it works out. I don't know. With no points on the line, are they going to drive a little different at Dover? We'll see. I don't know.
Also, I should mention the Pit Crew Challenge will be a 4-tire pit stop with no fuel. The fastest stop with no penalty will win the challenge, and then the results will also determine pit selection for the All-Star race. But you're right, 350 laps for an All-Star race. That'll be something new for us to watch around Dover. We will, we'll again, another thing, we'll see what happens here, but certainly worth paying attention to.
Dover deserves to be on the schedule, but boy, when they put it to an all-star race, just like, huh? Really? Okay, all right, and so don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Also want to mention 17 drivers are already in the all-star final segment. That would be Chastain, Cindric, Austin Dillon, Larson, Elliott, Hamlin, Blaney, Briscoe, Bell, Barry, Logano, Wallace, Byron, Reddick, SVG, Keselowski, and Busch. So 8 more will get in after the 2 segments and the fan vote there. So that's what that looks like as far as lineup at this time.
All right. That's between Mother's Day and Memorial Day. So that's off into May.
Yep, that will be Friday, May 15th will be Cup Series practice, and then the truck race. The 16th will be qualifying for the Cup Series and the Pit Crew Challenge and the O'Reilly Auto Parts race. And then Sunday, May 17th, will be the All-Star race with segments 1, 2, and 3.
And we're going to be busy that weekend because that's the quarter-mile spring opener out at Kaukauna, and the Tundra will be there Saturday. So, wow, lots of racing around that weekend, man.
I was just about to say that that's going to be a busy weekend there.
Those dates were really familiar when you said that, because I said, oh, yeah, I remember that date. So, looking forward to it.
It's my wife's birthday that weekend, so I would hope I would remember that.
Don't forget that one, man.
Let's recap some racing then, Mark. Some short track racing. Tristan McKee won Superfest down at Cordele, so a good start for him and the 5 team with Richie Waters Motorsports.
I see he's in the ARCA race here tomorrow night, Thursday night, at Phoenix. All of a sudden, I seen that he was there, so we'll be able to watch him. But we talked about him a couple of weeks ago and how much that he is on the up and up. So pay attention to him. Yeah, that's a name that's going to come through the ranks.
Absolutely. Let's talk about Atlanta then for the truck series here before we get into St. Pete. Heim won the first stage there, had some damage to the left front there. That was punched in pretty good by the headlight on the left front there. Unfortunately, Ty would get in the wall out of 4 in turn 2, had a tire go down, and then had another one go down after pitting, and his day just kind of got longer and harder from there. Honeycutt also had a tire go down. Rhodes ran out of fuel with 1 to go. Friesen would win the second stage.
Yeah, there was all kinds of action, man. Them tires, so you had to pay attention. Some of them tires were blowing out. So interesting stuff, man. Hey, love Atlanta, though, man. It was putting out a good product right then.
Yeah. Butcher, Queen, and Wright would make contact. Butcher would spin. Sutton had a big hit there.
Yeah, he destroyed that one, didn't he?
Yeah. Riggs then had a tire issue. Friesen had an issue late after battling for the lead with Kyle Busch, but it would be Kyle Busch winning it. They did shorten it, that race, just a little bit as well, but it would be Busch, Hocevar, Ruggiero, Rhodes, Heim, Chandler Smith, Garcia, Nemechek, Stenhouse, and Haley. Tanner Gray got the fastest lap, 30.636 seconds, 180.964 miles per hour.
Yeah, they cut it 10 laps short. They said, hey, at 4:20 Eastern, or that they're going to shut it down. So we definitely knew the time. If they would have just ran caution free, they probably would have made it. I thought it made for interesting racing to put a little clock on the back side of it. And the drivers drove like it, man. And it made it for an exciting race. That was good stuff.
Yeah. Brought back memories of the caution clock. Remember before stages, they tried it out in the truck series where they had that caution clock, and it was like 20 minutes. And boy, the end of those caution clocks got very interesting, much like the stages do now. But yeah, you think, could time races, that's always been a hot topic over the last few years, especially. Could that become a thing?
Yeah, one thing about Atlanta, man, the upper groove was the way to go, man. It just seemed like the lower groove just could not seem to get it lined up or hooked up enough, and everybody wanted to be on the outside, man. And then it was like Slinky, they'd all kind of get apart from each other, and then they'd all be back together, and then they would kind of pull off. And Slinky would be the best way to describe how that went.
Yeah. Yeah, you can make some hay on the bottom, and you could gain, a couple car lengths, truck lengths. Down on the bottom, but on the straightaway, the top would just pull back away.
Yeah, you try to dive bomb, and then you kind of slide up in front of the guy and do But if you couldn't make it work and you were stuck by yourself down on the bottom and didn't have no help, you were going to the back.
The O'Reilly series then later on, Ryan Sieg and Day make contact. Sieg wrecks and collects Harrison Burton, Kyle Sieg, Perkins, and Staropoli. Ryan Sieg was not happy with Corey Day.
Lap 5. Yeah. And it was on, man. We had a big pile up right away on lap 5. Over aggressive racing there by Day.
Alfredo would pit with a flat tire. He also would get a commitment line violation. Mayer would get a flat tire a few laps later. He and Taylor Gray had contact for the lead earlier. Love would win the stage, but Taylor Gray made some contact with a crew member. That was a pretty scary incident where the crew member was trying to save a tire and try to get back across the car. He would be okay, but scary incident there.
He's pretty tough though, man, but he had to go get that tire, and he caught it just before he got out of the box. But Gray just kind of he helped him out of the way apparently, and shows how tough he was. So good thing there, man. I don't know, man. I definitely would still feel that the next day, getting hit by a car like that. But hey, them guys are warriors down there, man. They're one tough breed.
I would definitely feel it for sure. Caruth would win stage 2, and then Day would get into Quapple. That causes Allgaier to also get in the wall. Caution would come out. Quapple got the worst of that one. A little later on, Clements would spin and hit the inside wall, but no caution came out. And NASCAR's kind of been consistent with that from Daytona to Atlanta. So just wanted to point that out. And then, unfortunately, Sammy Smith would lose a tire entering the corner and collect Taylor Gray, Ellis, Sawalich, Ruggiero, Lights, Poole, Scott, Staropoli, and Maggio. Kind of a big one there.
Kind of a big one. It was a big one. Yeah, it affected a whole bunch of big drivers right there.
Caruth would get loose, but caught it. Mayer got in the back of the Williams at the same time, and Williams would wreck. Chastain got a run, and Hill tried to block and saved it. Went to the apron and all, came back on the track, but lost a lot of ground. And Sheldon Creed gets the monkey off his back. He wins his first O'Reilly Series race over Retzloff, Sanchez, Day, Love, Chastain, Mayer, Caruth, Taylor Gray, and Jones. Jeb Burton had the fastest lap there, 30.883 seconds, 179.516 miles per hour.
Yeah, and it was really cool, man, that his teammate came out there, Sam Mayer, comes over there, and congratulates his teammate, and he cuts across the grass, and he absolutely destroys his race car. When are we going to get rid of that grass on the infield, dude? When? What's it there for?
Yeah, I was talking to you about it, and the Cup cars can now go over the grass because they don't have the car on the ground so much, but the O'Reilly cars still do, so that absolutely destroyed that car.
Boy, it's just like a big old scoop right on the front, and it digs in and it just absolutely destroys the front end of the race cars, man. But yeah, unfortunate, but still, hey, how many times did Creed have a second place finish? Wasn't it 15? He finally broke the ice. So now the victories will start coming along, he'll start snapping them off left and right. That first one's apparently the hardest one to get.
Oh, no kidding, man. I thought about this too. Did I miss something? Because didn't Hill and Creed were teammates, remember? And that whole Martinsville debacle where Creed didn't win the race, so he didn't advance, and he hurt Hill's chance of advancing to or having a win there. And even Andy Petrie, I had an issue with it, how Andy Petrie treated Creed, but he ended up making up for it and apologizing and realized Creed had something broke on the front end. But it seemed like Hill and Creed did not like each other. And now they seem like the best of friends.
Yeah, Hill came up there and congratulated him while he was in the winner's circle. Yeah, that was weird. Also, like, what's he doing there? Yeah, I thought they were such bitter enemies.
And Hill had a post there that said, my drinking buddy or whatever, and Creed kind of said the same thing. And I was like, don't you guys not like each other? Like, I'm so confused. I had to have missed something there. Maybe it was just, in the moment, some frustration and all that. But remember, Hill even gave away that Creed was going to Gibbs before that was announced in that same aftermath of Martinsville from that race. So it's just like, man, I did not think that you guys liked each other, but they acted like they were chummy and best friends.
Well, that's all right, man. That's okay.
Oh yeah, I was just like I was just caught off
But
guard. Like I had to have missed something.
yeah, because I never would expect that. I thought those two went their bitter ways, and that's the end of it. But
Yeah,
yeah, nothing like a couple beers together probably sew that relationship back up,
that's
huh?
probably right. Yep. The Cup Series at Atlanta, then Hocevar would get up into the wall and had a flat tire. He would go 2 laps down early. Cindric would win the first stage. In stage 2, Gibbs and Berry would make some contact. Gibbs hits the outside wall pretty hard. Bell got a piece of that. Hamlin got a piece, and Herbst got a piece of it.
But Hamlin, man, when his in car, how did he miss that? It was just he was coming back across the track, but he caught Barry in the rear end, and I mean Hamlin was tucked up underneath Barry, and how all of a sudden he just ricocheted back and missed Hamlin. He was the lucky one out of that whole mess.
Yeah. Herbst and Austin Dillon would make contact and spin. They would collect Stenhouse, Gillen, Zane Smith, and McLeod. Busch went to the high lines, lifted slightly, and Gregson gave him a push. Busch would spin and hammer the wall. Busch was upset with Gregson, but I'm not sure what Gregson could have done differently there.
It was really weird, all of a sudden he just went right up there, and took that over. And I don't know if the rear end got a little bit light or whatever. And Gregson was right there, and even though if Busch had to just burp it just a little bit, there was no room there and there was no reason for Gregson. I kind of blame Kyle Busch for the real quick move on that one. So it's the way it went. And I mean, Kyle Busch took the wall down, man. He hit her pretty hard.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Larson and SVG would make some contact coming to the green-white checkered. SVG would spin through the grass. Larson wrecked. Wallace wins it since the caution came out before the line there. So I think it looked like, I forget who that was. That was it Reddick? Someone else it looked like had won. Maybe it was Elliott. Someone looked like they had crossed the line first there, but Wallace was deemed the winner when the caution flew.
You're right. There was a where they came back and they looked at it and they went to commercial and come back and said, "Oh, look at the camera." All of a sudden, yeah, it was obvious, but it was scored different. So that was a different one. So yeah, I thought for sure, when I first looked at it, Byron won the stage, but then they came back and said, "No, Wallace got it." So,
Byron, that's who it was. Yep.
Byron, that was.
Hamlin would get loose later in the race and collect Reddick, Zilich, Byron gets a piece, Bowman, Buescher, McDowell. Logano and Hocevar would make some contact. Looked like Joey came down just a little bit, and Logano would spin. Byron would then get loose and slap the wall. He goes left, but cars were coming through. He clips Cindric. They spin and collect Logano, Nemechek, Austin Dillon, Gregson, Hamlin, Gillen, Custer, Jones, Ware, and a red flag would come out because we were headed to overtime.
And then I text you, and this is the way it looked to me, just like Byron was just going to say, what the heck with it? I'm going to try to make pit road. And he cut across all the lanes, and it didn't work. Everybody piled in. You gotta enter pit road over there in turn 3. It's a different kind of thing. And maybe Byron just thought, hey, maybe if I just dart on over there and try to get through there, but it didn't work, man. They piled them all up.
Yeah, I had the same thought. I said the only reason I think that would happen, because I feel like Byron is better than that, is if he had no steering. And he came out and he had no steer. He said he had no steering, so I got to take him for his word at it. I don't think Byron would make a move like that. I really don't. So I got to trust that he had no steering there.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, he ended up cutting all the way across every lane, but he was pointing in the right direction to make pit road. So that's what made it kind of like a head scratcher, though. So
he almost caught someone in the second lane out of the corner because he was already veering to the left. Yeah, that was just unfortunate there. Hocevar goes for a hole, but it closes. Bell wrecks. There was a hole, but it just wasn't big enough, Mark. Wallace came up, and Bell came down to block it as Hocevar got there. Could have probably been a little more patient there.
And it's opened up a can of worms where everybody's pointing their finger at Hocevar these days. There was 3/4 of a hole there, and he just like, you know what? I'm going to put this in there. And love the aggressiveness, man. But I tell you what, the other competitors, he ain't making no friends doing that stuff, man.
No.
Mm-mm.
How about this? Reddick would go back to back over Briscoe, Chastain, Hocevar, Suarez, SVG, Zane Smith, Wallace, Priest, and Blaney. The fastest lap went to Custer, 29.715 seconds, 186.572 miles per hour.
Have you ever seen a winner win without a right front fender on the car
Yeah.
at a high
I
speed
feel like
at a high speed racetrack? Yeah,
Martinsville, I've heard that
sure.
works well, but at a high speed like that, yeah, that was an interesting one for sure.
I thought he was all done with that right fender. All right, you could push all day, man, but you ain't going to be able to lead. And he got all the lead that last lap, man. They couldn't chase him down, so it was crazy. Good race, man. 57 lead changes between 14 drivers, man. He can't ask for nothing more than that. Love Atlanta. They put on a good show down there. Love it.
Atlanta is putting out a great product right now, and throughout the years it has as well. I know they had to repave it and do that configuration there, but that's okay. It's been good so far. So
Yeah,
then, oh, go ahead.
yeah, you do it back to back with Daytona and Atlanta, and then you got that going on. So Reddick, he gets two in a row at these kind of tracks, man. Anybody can win these races, and so right place, right time, and then hey, let's go through a road course in right after this, man. So that's just like wow, from one extreme to another.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about the trucks down at St. Pete. Franchitti was in the race. He got loose and bumped into Hinchcliffe there and sent him wide. Tanner Gray got loose and buried the wall. He would end up getting going. No caution came out. Rhodes would be the stage one winner.
Road sure looked pretty good, man, with Connor Mozak. The qualifying was rained out, so they set it, set the lineup that way from last week's race, everything like that. So, wow. And I mean, we were watching Ty, he was chopping them off left and right coming through, so it sure looked like Thor had their act together for the first stage right there.
Andretti would hammer the wall after some contact. Riggs would be the stage two winner.
Do you see Eckes's car, man? I mean, I giggled right out loud, man. That car was destroyed from one end to another, man. But he just kept slugging away at him, man. But that truck was trash, man.
Yeah. Riggs would go on and win the race over Ty, Rhodes, Chandler Smith, Honeycutt, Lewis, Perez, Hemrick, Braun, and Hinchcliffe there. Ty did get the lead there for a little bit and just had an issue in that final corner with, 7 to 8 to go mark, and got back to Riggs. And it would have been interesting if it went another lap there, but just didn't have enough. So Riggs took it. He also had the fastest lap, 78.149 seconds, 82.919 miles per hour.
Everybody would say, Majeski probably did a wheel hop there. There was a rumor that there was a car earlier in the back of the pack that put up a bunch of grass and dirt on the track, and that's what Majeski hit. It's amazing in itself. He still made contact with that wall off the racetrack, and he lost 5 positions. And what would be the feeling, man, going down that airport runway, man, knowing that you got dirty tires, huh? That you got dirty tires and all of a sudden you're going to go into that next corner, and how do you even believe that thing's going to stick? And it did for him. Also, okay, and on he went, and he picked them all off all the way to the back bumper of the leader, man. So it was impressive to see how Ty Majeski ran that. Got some good points, man. Unfortunately, he had to start way in the back, because of the lineup. So boy, I sure hope they go back to St. Pete, man. That put on a good show. I hope they go back there next year.
That was a phenomenal show by the trucks at St. Pete, and to be linked up with IndyCar. I know we both like IndyCar. Why not do that every year now?
Yeah, and then you had some, the IndyCars. Hinchcliffe got he got a 10th place. It's amazing in itself, right there. So. Good race all the way around. That last laps, thought Rhodes was going to have a shot, and boy, Riggs, man, did he have that thing going, huh? It's all them Fords up front, man. Top 4 for Fords, man. Get yourself a Ford and you'll do good out on the street courses right there, buddy.
Yeah, I'll move on from that comment from you, I guess. But no, it's true. Fords did have a good day there. I tell you what, we should be calling him Jimmy Hinch, because that's what they were. That was his nickname if he ever got into a NASCAR race. So Jimmy Hinch had a pretty good day. I tell you what, Dario Franchitti did as well, but he had a pit a couple times late, and that kind of ruined his day. But good to see both of them in the field. Hinchcliffe was in the top 10 all day long.
They found out how hot it gets in them trucks too, man. They look like they were well used up when they got out. They said it was warm in those trucks. So, yeah, but they put on a good show, man. Good stuff.
And the next day, IndyCar ran. It was also hot it was a hot weekend down in St. Pete because there were some IndyCar drivers that looked pretty exhausted getting out of their cars too. And we'll talk about the race now. There was a crash on lap 1. Stingray Robb went in too hot and collected Ferrucci and Schumacher. That was super unfortunate because Mick Schumacher, obviously the son of Michael Schumacher, he came over from Formula One to be in IndyCar this year. And I wanted to see what he had the first race out, and he didn't even get what was it, 2-3 corners, and that was it.
And he was up on top of another car. That was the end of that. So that sucks. But yeah, that's the way it goes on them tight little corners like turn 4 there. That's a tight spot there.
Yeah, and sucks for Ferrucci too, you know. And then Stingray Robb got to go for a few more laps yet, but that's okay. Learning experience there for all. So Dixon would also lose a wheel after pitting in the mid part of the race. Man, that Chip Ganassi team is usually buttoned up. That was strange out of the 9 team.
Yeah, Dixon was winning. He was leading the race, came in, and all of a sudden when he was going, and if you look to the right, you just watch the tire go right by him. And he did a good job of getting that thing wound up, and slowed down into the runoff area. And yeah, it was amazing where that tire was going to end up and everything. And it just kind of settled itself up on top of a tire barrier and just nestled itself up over there. So, so yeah, it's strange when you see the tire go by you and the tire's faster than you are. You got a problem.
It found its family, and
it did. It just snuggled right in over there, just like, where's that tire going? Because you never know if somebody hits like that. It's
oh man,
that's dangerous stuff out of the tire rolling around uncontrollably. Yep.
Very, yeah. Yeah, strange out. He was coming out. He was going to be top 5 after the pit stop, even, so he was trying to get out, and yeah, it just went wrong for him there. But Power also went out of the race after brushing the wall. He did the same thing in practice in the same spot. So that was unfortunate for Power, who was racing for the first time for Andretti.
Okay, yeah. One thing I wanted to talk to you about on here too is, they were going, what it was that turn 12. You see the trucks, they were hitting that turtle on that corner. And I mean, just absolutely picking the cars up, just like, are you going to do damage slamming that left front down? And then I was watching the IndyCar saying, hey, you guys try that. But they definitely make sure that they get around that turtle there, that they don't do that, because that would destroy their suspension there.
Yeah. But what can you say about Alex Palou? He goes out and wins over McLaughlin and Lundgaard. It's Palou's 20th win in 99 races, man. That's better than, 1/5 of the time he's winning. That is a crazy stat.
Just short of 13 seconds, he won that race by, man. And it's just a Sunday drive for him, man. He just goes off and does his thing, And a lot of them they got that soft tire, hard tire thing, and a lot of the guys were using the hard tire and saving them to the soft. And he did it the opposite way. He ran the 2 softs and then ran the hard tire at the end, and he just stayed out at the right time, and all of a sudden come back out and just like, see ya. It looks like another year of dominance coming up for the Palou team, man.
Well, he's won 4 championships, so he won in 21. 23, 24, and 25, so he's missed 2022. He won the Indy 500 last year as well. I mean, what else can you say? The guy is just unbelievable right now.
Yep, he's ride that wave, man, because it's hot. So stay on that wave as long as it'll run.
Yeah. Then the O'Reilly series and the Cup series was out at COTA, so we'll talk about the O'Reilly series first here. Hill would win the first stage by staying out. Leguizamon would crash hard into turn 1 in stage 2. Mayer would win the second stage.
Yeah, and my heart was broken with Zilich with a brake problem, and so then he ended up having to replace a brake rotor, and it was interesting to see him come flying through, and trying to make up ground through that race.
Yeah. Karam would stop on track with a mechanical failure on the left front. A restart would happen with 5 to go. SVG would get through some traffic and get to the lead. Kruth and Quapple would end up in the wall. Day would get in the back of Zilich, and Connor would nail the wall. It all stays green there, but it would be SVG taking home the win over Hill, Sammy Smith, Love, Day, Cruz, Sawalich, Allgaier, Chastain, and Poole. SVG had the first lap. He was the only one in the 99-second bracket, I believe. 99.452 seconds, 86.876 miles per hour.
I like that when Zilich was just on the radio and he's saying Corey Day's a hack. He's a hack. And he's standing there just having a complete meltdown on the radio. So then they come up and they put a camera on him and said, well, what's it, just like to see. And he just, then the camera's on. He's just like, I don't have to repeat myself. Everybody saw what happened. Just like sugarcoat that and move on. So it's totally different when you got a camera on you and how you're going to react, man. So quite interesting. But SVG once again shows just how he can dominate. Austin Hill, man, he kept him honest. He was there. We know how he can get around, but nobody was going to beat SVG on this day.
Yeah. Day ended up, I believe, having a little bit of a talking to after the last few weeks. We talked about Atlanta being rough for him. Coda also with that contact with Zilich. So it sounds like Rick Hendrick kind of had a talk with Corey Day, and we'll see what happens with that whole deal. But just a couple of unfortunate incidents there. Hopefully you don't pull them back too far.
I believe that conversation was brought out this afternoon, and I saw the headline, but I have not read it. But I'm sure it's probably the same kind of conversation that they had with Chastain back in the day and tried to defuse him. And, ever since that happened, Chastain is kind of buttoned it up. It hasn't been as aggressive like let's say, a Hocevar is in a way. So I don't like seeing defuse these guys. I guess it's easier to slow them down than to pick them back up. But once when you have a couple of weeks in a row that you have these incidents that shouldn't happen, I guess maybe a talking to can help you out and settle you down.
Well, the difference with that situation, because I thought the same thing, is Hendrick is not Chastain's car owner, but he is for Corey Day. So a little bit different there, but I said the same thing. Hopefully he doesn't reel him back too far, because I'd rather try to reel it back a little than have to try to push someone forward, but you don't want to put them back too far.
Yeah, so he definitely has got to clean some stuff up, man, because we know that 17 car can fly. We've seen that already with other people in it. So,
and we know the talent that Corey Day has. Great talent. So, just hopefully things start to click here for him.
Well, I think he'll get a victory this year. Just just clean it up and move on and get the experience, man. He's got the talent, and there wouldn't be no surprise if he pulls off a victory this year.
Yeah. The Cup Series then, Chastain would win the first stage by staying out. Gibbs would win the second stage by staying out. That was his first stage win on a road course for Ty Gibbs. Isn't that amazing for how good of a road course driver he is? And, we've seen in the O'Reilly series. That's shocked me.
Yeah, for sure. But a lot of times with road courses, a lot of people are dumping the stage so that they can reline up when the caution comes out and everything. What I was really impressed about so far, we didn't talk about at Austin, is they put these tire barriers in the S's, man. Thank God for that.
Yeah.
It used to be a ball and strike call, and finally they did something here, and I don't think there was any contact. I mean, they were going by this close, but I didn't see all weekend that one of them got touched, and I thought that was really awesome to take that ball and strike call out of that.
There was a couple of times. There was one I vividly remember. It was at the end of the race when SVG was trying to chase down Reddick that I thought SVG was gonna catch it, and he didn't. And that was about the closest I saw. But there was multiple close calls with that barrier, and they were huge barriers, dude.
Yeah, I think they're 60 pounds, so they would do damage to you. But what was the rule behind that? If you hit that or knock that over, that would be a penalty.
I don't know the exact thing that would happen with that, but
I mean, if you knocked it
your
over,
car would be hurt.
yeah, but then they'd have to throw the caution to put the tire back out there. There'd have to be something that would have to go against the driver for tipping that. I don't know if they never explained that there was a. I know if you missed it, they said there was a runoff. There was a runoff lane that was further up the track that you could actually pull off and do a complete stop. But they never explained that. Like if you actually tip that tires over and move that, probably figure the damage would be bad enough because it probably would destroy the right front side of your vehicle.
I would think so. Yeah, I think you got other problems if you're hurting or if you're hitting that there.
But
Man.
if you're in the passenger seat, then you could put your hand out there and you could slap the tires as you go by. It was that close.
Yeah. Later in the race, Chastain would lose a wheel, and then Bowman would get out of the car. He was sick. Myatt Snyder would get in. He was pit. He's been working with TV and things just like his father, and he was the pit spotter for Jamie Little, and he brought every race car driver will tell you bring your suit and helmet everywhere you go, and he was able to get into the 48. So a cool moment for Myatt Snyder.
There's been some information about that, about having license or qualified or like that because he never raced in a cup car, and a lot of people were saying, well, does he got a license for that or whatever? And he passed, and he got through there and finished the race for the 48 team. Yeah, it's amazing that that somebody else wasn't around. I mean, of all people, Myatt Snyder. Yeah, and you're right. You best have your suit and your helmet laying around. You just never know if you have to use it, and so unreal. And then then Hendrick kind of came up and said that they ain't got nothing to say about Bowman at this time. So I just kind of wondering if there's something lingering there. I haven't heard nothing yet this week. See if he's feeling better. It was really hot there, man. It was pretty bad because AJ Allmendinger after the race, man, he went instantly to the ground. That was scary. That was scary stuff, man. And then they went and got the stretcher, and got some fluids in him, man. He popped right back up and everything like that. So, yeah, man, that's scary stuff. When breathing fumes and being hot all day, man. First hot race of the year. Not used to it, man. So yeah, that's scary stuff there.
Well, a lot of these drivers are wearing cool suits, and they have a tendency to fail every now and then. Seems like AJ Allmendinger's always fails. I feel like I just always hear he's one that fails. Larson's another one. Maybe the cool suit, they got to figure that out or something. But I'll never forget Ricky Stenhouse coming out last year, and I think he said something again this year saying he doesn't do a cool suit. Like he just thinks hydration and training is more crucial than wearing a cool suit. And he says, his saying is always, mine doesn't fail. So, because if it fails, it's worse than not having one by a long shot, because that water is just pooling and it's just sitting there getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and that can be extremely dangerous there. It's already dangerous, so you can just imagine. But yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that. Going back to Snyder getting in and approval and all that, the easiest tracks to get approved for are road courses and short tracks, from what I understand. So Myatt has a lot of experience in ARCA and trucks and O'Reilly, where him hopping in a cup car road course really, I mean, I think there was little chance that he wouldn't been able to do that and get approved. So they approved him pretty quickly and let him race there.
while he was getting in the car. So, okay. And he was popping in just like, just kind of came out of left field. All of a sudden Bowman got sick and he came in and he said it came on all at once, man. So, yeah, good for them, man, that was somebody there right at the right time at the right spot. It didn't improve him any spots, man. I mean, he ended up being 5 laps down and ended up, got a finish out of it, but didn't gain no positions from it.
Also, there was someone else that was battling an illness too. Something might have been going around in the garage and passing through. So Bowman wasn't the only one that wasn't feeling well. I forget who it was, but they said there was at least one more other driver that was close to getting out of the car because they didn't feel good as well. But anyway, Zilich got spun earlier in the race. He got spun again after coming from the back on the last restart with Zane Smith. Hamlin got in the back of Byron, and that kind of set it off there.
Yeah, Byron took out the 88, man. On that one, once again, Zilich ended up sideways over there in turn one. Um, so, boy, turn one, everybody pretty much behaved this time in turn one. There's usually a lot of really slamming into everybody, when you go up in there and 5 wide and sweeping around. It's a strange corner, man. I don't know. Some fans like it, some fans don't. It's quite the unique corner up on top of that hill, man.
Yeah, it is. You and I were kind of chatting, and you said how many are going to get wiped out on it was the one before the last restart, and I said I think it'll maybe it was the stage end of stage 2, and I said I think they'll be good on this one, but the last one there might be some calamity. And
Well, just think what you could just drive right up someone's rear end and just absolutely push them, and they could look like bowling, and they just go, and you could turn left and see ya, and you could really cause a mess. Everybody watched their P's and Q's, and everybody was a sportsman this weekend. But man, you could really actually lay out the field there if you're in the right position.
yeah, how about this though? Tyler Reddick becomes the first driver to win the first 3 races of the season. Just incredible. Reddick would win over SVG, Bell, Gibbs, McDowell, Larson, Elliott, Blaney, Elmendinger, and Hamlin. Chastain had the fastest lap. He might have also been one of 2 or the only one in the 99-second bracket. It was 99.680 seconds, which is 86.677 miles per hour.
Yeah, so that last one where Hocevar got taken out. Apparently, it was Cole Custer that had enough of Hocevar. They never showed the record. All he saw was the 77 was buried into the inside wall there. And Mike Joy was all excited that there was going to be a caution. That they wanted a caution. The white flag was already out. So I think Mike Joy. I think he missed that one there, but they covered that up and they said, "Oh, by the way, Harvick said, yeah, the white flag came out," and so then, boy, I tell you what, Reddick had to run the perfect race, man. That rabbit was going and that hound was right on him, and apparently SVG wasn't happy with that car all weekend. Just could not just get that car to cooperate the way he wanted it to. Only him would probably make a second place run out of it. Christopher Bell, he was up and down and all over the scoreboard all day, this way, that way, up and down, and to come back and get a third place, that was impressive. But boy, Reddick just ran the perfect race, and there's Michael Jordan. There's Michael Jordan again. And so, hey, why not go for 4 in a row? I wouldn't be surprised if they pull it off at Phoenix. I mean, when you're hot, man. Like I said before, ride the wave while you got it.
That's right. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. But what a feat for him in 23-11. They went through that tough stretch last year, not winning a race after being the regular season champion in 24. And, Reddick's a 2-time O'Reilly Series champion, and that everything with his son Rookie and all that, and now the lawsuit that was going on last year, and in the off season, now they've won the first 3 races. Just remarkable for 23-11 and the 45 team, that's for sure. Well, anything else you want to talk about before we talk about what's coming up next here?
Hey, there's a few other things, man. Let's see. How about Richie Bickle? Hey, so much for retirement for him, huh?
Yep.
He went down and raced down in Florida, and he announced that he's going to run the Slinger Opener coming up here in April. So we're going to look forward to that. And he said that he's going to be in the Nationals this year. So that came straight from the Bickle camp right there. And he's got like 6 races down at Grundy. So that's something to look forward to there, man.
Yeah, that's super awesome. Can't wait to see that 45 back on track. That's for sure. I want to also say something else that came up that I meant to mention here is Jason Schultz was promoted at the Fox River Racing Club to competition director. So that was pretty cool. So congratulations to Jason. He also runs the Dirt Kings with his wife Sandy and their family. Caitlin involved too with their daughter. So pretty cool for Jason Schultz to be promoted with the Fox River Racing Club. Well deserved.
Director of competition. That's a brand new seat right there. So
Mhm.
best of luck to him, man. Everybody seems very positive. What I've seen, saying
Yeah.
looking forward to him, wishing the best of luck, and yeah, man, you go, man, and make it happen.
Yep. What else you got?
Hey, how about Brad Keselowski? How about him starting to complain about road courses? We've already downside to road courses, but then if you look at Brad K at his record at, I think he's only got one top 10 in the last 10 years, and so he put his business hat on and saying that road courses, don't have good attendance, and it's the sponsorship is tough, and it seemed like he was grasping at straws. A lot of things that he was saying wasn't true because that was the best crowd at Austin. They had the best crowd down there, and there's only four there's only four road course races. I mean, can't really complain about that, I guess. So, but it was interesting that Brad K put his business hat on and made a bunch of comments there.
Well, I'm sure he didn't feel the greatest after going left and right and using both legs inside the car. Like that was his first big challenge there to be in the car with everything he's been through. So I wonder if that had a little bit to do with it too. So I didn't put much stock into what he was saying. I like Brad. He probably should have won that race. Remember that incredible race? What was that? 2012 maybe? That race at Watkins Glen between Marcus Ambrose, Brad Keselowski, and Kyle Busch. Probably should have won that race at Watkins Glen there, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't put much stock into what he said this time around.
That was a classic 2012. Yeah, that brings back memories, man. They were going through the chicane and digging up the dirt and everything. So it was all good stuff, good memories there. So hey, another one that's been talking that was really kind of strange too is that Pato Award. He's talking about the IndyCar series being undercard to NASCAR, especially this weekend. And I guess he just doesn't like that idea.
Well, I understand where he's coming from because you don't want the series that you're running in to necessarily take a back seat to anything, especially when you're the premier open wheel racing series in the country. You don't want that. You got your own stars, and I love Pato. Pato's probably, I mean, he's the most popular driver in IndyCar. He's my favorite currently. I didn't really like his comments because I think when you make a comment like that, you got to really think long and hard about it. Like, and Jeff Gluck went into the numbers, and I think they average like roughly 800,000 viewers on a race. Indy 500 gets, I think he said something crazy like 7 or 8 million people viewed the Indy 500, which is just a crazy amount. And then I think there was one other one that got into 1 million. The rest are less than 800,000. It averages out to like 800,000 viewers, which sometimes the truck series has. O'Reilly kind of beats that, and Cup blows it out of the water on a weekly schedule, other than those few races. So I think you need to realize kind of where you're at in the spectrum of it. It's a good thing. Fox has now bought into the IndyCar series. We talked about that in the off season. So Fox is a part of it. They're trying to, get the best deal that they can. So getting NASCAR eyes on IndyCar is a big thing for them to hopefully get that transition of fans going. further than it is right now. So his comments were kind of surprising because I think he should know where they are on the spectrum. But I also understand it because you don't want to admit that, you don't want to say that, you don't want your series to be. Plus, the series deserves, for how talented they are, the series deserves to be the top of the top. So I totally understand where he's coming from, but I think in a few instances this is a really good thing. You and I were talking over the weekend, like I said to you, I said, hey, and the trucks did good. Now we got IndyCar doubleheader tomorrow that's coming up at St. Pete. Plus, we got a whole nother weekend coming up at Phoenix here, which is a doubleheader with the O'Reilly Series, the Cup Series, and IndyCar. So I think at least a few times a year is good. I understand where he's coming from, though. I think people are not necessarily taking it out of context because he said what he said, but I think if you look into it deeper, he wants his series to be the best series. He wants his series to be the top of the top. So that's where he was coming from.
But as a fan standpoint, man, hey, we're going to Phoenix to watch the two biggest series that's out there. I mean, as a fan standpoint, it's a dream come true. That's what you want as a fan.
As a fan, I could not disagree with him further. Because I don't care who's the top. I don't care who's the top series a part of it. I'm gonna watch some great racing. There's great talent all the way around. I love it. So I couldn't disagree further with him as a fan. But at the same time, with my reporter hat on and maybe even a little bit of a fan, I understand where he's coming from.
But I think also with both series being there, who doesn't say that the Indy guys hang around, or even on Saturday night and watch, after they're done, they're going to hang around and watch the O'Reilly race, and the O'Reilly guys could actually sit and beforehand be there, and they can kind of look over the fence to see how the Indy cars do this, There's some interest that goes on, and I'm sure there's going to be some people looking from a distance and looking at stuff like that. So interesting stuff, man, when they're both there at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a good thing. I think people just got to look at the angle that he's coming from, protecting his series, talking well about his series, and move on from it. But
you talk about tire compounds and stuff like that from different series that race, and so with Firestone's going to be there Saturday, rubbering up the track for the O'Reilly series. Be interesting to see if that will make any difference at all, if that affects the good years of the O'Reilly series. So something to put on thinking hat and pay attention to that for that race on Saturday night.
Yeah, I think it'll play a role for sure. But everyone's going to be on the same foot, same problem, same thing to try to figure out. So it'll be interesting to see. But everyone's on the same foot, so we'll see what happens.
Hey, Phoenix, man, we're going there. We put out a good. It was good the last time we were there. And the weather looks decent, so it looks like we got a good weekend for Phoenix coming up, man.
Yeah, let's talk about our picks here, and then we'll go into the TV schedules. So for the O'Reilly series, the defending winner is Eric Almirola. You get to go first, buddy.
Hey, you remember that Eric Almirola when he did that to Alex Bowman last year, and you got chapped after that one.
Yeah,
you chirped about that one for a couple of weeks, so that sat in your craw for a little while. So, that's a year already, man. So
crazy.
All right, the O'Reilly series there, man. Well, let's just kind of see who the outsiders that come in and see who's all there. And, Willie B is going to be in that 88 car, man. So why not? If William Byron's going to be in the O'Reilly series, I got to take that since you clean swept me last weekend.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that, buddy. I need all the good luck and good picking I can get after last year, that's for sure. Good pick by you, obviously. Can't go wrong with that. I'm going to pick Justin Allgaier. I'm going to try to go against you with Chevy teammate, a guy who has won there before, runs really well there. So I'm going to take Justin Allgaier.
That was my pick that was written down before I finally seen the driver's list, and that made me change to the 88. But that was my pick, was Allgaier I was going to throw at you, but I'll save him for another day, man.
And then for the Cup Series here, the defending winner is Christopher Bell.
Yeah, wouldn't that be a nice pick? But I'm gonna stay with Penske. I'm gonna stay at Penske at Phoenix, man, and I'm gonna run Blaney at you. He sure knows how to get around there. Hopefully he's got her hooked up. He looked good this last week, surprisingly good on a road course. How good Blaney was. Faded at the end for an eighth place finish, but um, yeah, he seems like they got that 12 team going, cooking pretty good, man. So that's my pick for you. I'm going to throw Ryan Blaney at you for the Cup race.
Yeah, that was definitely my number one pick was Blaney there. My second pick, well, I don't even know if I went with my second pick. I kind of went with maybe my third pick here. I'm gonna throw Bell's teammate at you. I'm gonna go Chase Briscoe. You know, he's won at Phoenix before. I'm gonna try to get another win with Chase Briscoe, and he's shown speed over the last year. You know how many poles he had and all that. So I'm hoping Chase Briscoe can find it. Although talking about Chase Briscoe, interesting radio conversation he had after he went out with Coda and you know, his crew chief yelling at him, "Why don't you read a map?" Um, yeah, I don't. Now that I almost want to talk myself out of doing that, but that's okay. I hope the 19 team comes together closer than ever.
Well, that's frustrating. They led the first 8 laps, and then break a transaxle, and that just absolutely ruined their day. You figured, all right, they maybe can fix that, but it must have been more internal than that, and ended up with a DNF, man. And that hurts. That hurts big time for a DNF, man. You don't want them this year, man. Points are everything, man. You get a DNF sitting in the pits with a DNF, that's catastrophic, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I think we got a good season ahead of us here as Pick'em. I think it'll be a lot closer than it was last year, thankfully
Yep.
for me.
Yep.
Um, we'll see what happens. As far as the TV schedule coming up here, I want to mention a few things. F1, I mentioned Drive to Survive. Their weekend kicks off their season kicks off this weekend. Excuse me, down in Australia. It'll be 10 p.m. Central. They have a different channel that they're going to be on or app that they're going to be on. Remember, they moved away from ESPN. Their rights were up, and Apple TV took it on. So you're going to have to get Apple TV to watch that. But 10 p.m. Central down in Australia, F1 will be kicking off there on Saturday. So also another thing going on is MotoAmerica kicks off their season with the Daytona 200 and Daytona Bike Week down there. That's really exciting. You and I went to Road America last year to see the bikes for the first time, Mark, and we've talked about it off and on here and off to the side, how incredible the bikes were. We can't wait to get back. We're going to try to have Hank Vosberg on. He's the youngster from Green Bay that's been doing some bike stuff and friend of Ty Feetzer. So we're looking to have Hank on here and hopefully in the near future for him to talk about that. But Moto America does open up down in Daytona this weekend as well. As far as NASCAR and IndyCar goes, these times will be in Central, 2:30 on Thursday, so tomorrow, ARCA practice and qualifying. Then 5 o'clock on FS1, the ARCA race will get going, 150 laps there. The entry list looks pretty good, so tune into that one. I know Mark talked about that a little bit earlier with the entry list there. So
Are you sure
that'll
that's a
be
5 o'clock? I got a 4:30 over here, unless if they moved it back a half hour.
I got a 5 o'clock from Bob Pockris.
Okay,
So
so that must be they might have set it back a half hour or so. Okay, that's cool.
Friday, 9 o'clock in the morning on FS2 IndyCar practice. Then at 1 o'clock also on FS2 IndyCar qualifying. And then 3:30 on FS2, another IndyCar practice session. And then 6 o'clock on the CW app will be O'Reilly practice and qualifying. So just a practice and qualifying day there on Friday. Saturday, then 11 o'clock on Prime Cup practice and qualifying. 2 o'clock on Fox is the IndyCar race, 250 laps there. That'll be a great race to watch. 6:30 then on the CW, the O'Reilly race gets going, stages of 45, 45, and 110. Then Sunday on FS1, 2 o'clock race day, 2:30 the Cup Series race will get going, stages of 60, 125, and 127 laps there to end it. The weather looks great in the 70s from Thursday to Friday. Saturday to Sunday is in the 80s with 10% chance of moisture all weekend long. So it looks like a good weekend shaping up there down in Phoenix.
The Cup race is on FS1. They're at 2:30, and that O'Reilly race is only 200 laps, and we know how fast that can go. So the aggression's going to be it's going to be high, man, because you got to get her done because 200 laps goes awfully fast there. So we'll be looking forward to that on the CW, and we sure like how the CW has been doing their reporting. I'm giving them 2 thumbs up to CW. They're doing an awesome job covering the O'Reilly series.
No doubt, absolutely. Well, we'll have some guests coming up back on here next week, I believe. So we got a few things in the hopper here. So appreciate everyone's support. Mark, thank you. Thank you to Tim, Ben, and Carrie for all your support for us in the community. It's unbelievable what you guys do. So thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Again, have a great rest of your week and weekend. Enjoy some racing. Enjoy some good weather here. And hey, we'll talk to you soon.
We'll see you soon, man.
See ya.
This has been a production of Lore Sports. Hope you all enjoyed it, and thank you for listening.